Hello, listeners, to Raw Effect, the most fundamental podcast in the world. Hooray! Fungus. Oh my god, kill me now.
This
Anyway,
is gonna be a very fungal episode for sure.
so as you might have already noticed, today is going to be all about The Last of Us, which is the big core segment of the entire episode because we both bought it, we both played it, we both finished it, and we're definitely going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you right now, there's not going to be any spoilers in this one. We're going to record a separate episode, which is going to be our spoiler cast. That's going to dive like into narrative and we're thinking like in depth. But in this one, we're just going to do a general review, go into like all the details of like graphics, audio, gameplay, whatever. But no spoilers, so you should be fine. But before we get into all of that, let's do some housekeeping.
This is my favorite
because
part.
I fucked up majorly, and yeah, fuck it. He's been looking forward to this all week. He sent me a link immediately when he saw the message. Damn it. All right, so we were talking about Icarus last week, which was an indie title and a survival game. And Benz was under the opinion that if you go to planets, you are under a time limit when you drop or do the drop. And if you get off the planet, then you can build a base somewhere else and you die when you... What was it again?
If you run out
when
of time.
When you run out of time, you die and you can't be revived. But if you die, then you can be revived. And I said that made no sense. And I stand by that. But that is not what the game was thinking, and I was wrong. So I'll take that on the shin.
Thank you, Max. And again, just so it's clear for everyone, you only die if you run out of time, and you don't die if you like get killed or starve to death, or I don't know what are the options to die in that game. But you can only die, in fact, when you run out of time on your deployment. And you lose everything, so it's permadeath. The new character.
Live to die another day. All
That
right.
sounds familiar, Max.
Thank God. That was the only wrong thing I got wrong last week. So I'm still not happy about it because he's just laughing now over there. But let's get into the next segment, which is Know Your Host.
Know Your
So
Host.
we both prepare questions again. I have to make a jingle, don't
Yeah,
I?
maybe I'll make fun. I was already thinking about that, to be honest. But why if we just hard to like play it, I would need like a soundboard or something, you know, to play it on cue.
I'll tell you what, I throw in half of the money for a soundboard, but then I want 99% of the buttons just be Arnie prompts. Get over here, get to the chopper, let off some steam, yeah.
Okay, Max. Sure. Sounds very fun for the listener.
Who's the daddy? What is he gonna do? Alright. So, I start as always. Bence, what's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
The biggest risk I've ever taken. That's a really hard question to answer out of the blue because we don't actually know each other's
right?
questions. So
Should I vent for you? I bet the biggest risk you've ever taken was the game Risk.
no, the biggest risk was to start a podcast with Max. No, but like
No, that's just the worst idea ever. That's not the biggest risk.
I think like the actual biggest risk is most likely first that I went to England for university instead of staying in Hungary. It was kind of random and I left my home. But the other is probably very similar, that I actually moved to Germany because of my girlfriend at the time, to like completely leave everything behind and start a new life here alone with her and in a new flat, and I didn't have a job yet or anything. I didn't know what's gonna happen. I didn't have any income or anything. I just moved here basically. So that was a pretty big risk. But my parents are really supportive always, so that's kind of nice. And it turned out fine, I guess, even though I don't have a girlfriend anymore. But look where we are now, Max. Look at this cool background. Look at you. We know each other because of that decision, so it was a really good.
Look at my cool background. It's clinically white.
Yeah. So I think that's probably...
Yeah, out of the two, from studying or the moving here because of the job, the job sounds definitely more risky, right? Because you didn't have like any fallback, basically.
True, but like also like starting
when you go
like a subject, like I studied economics, so it was like, yeah, I'm just gonna study economics because I like maths and money stuff. So let's go to England and do the...
Yeah, but you like math, and when you went to England, at least like you had a study place, right? When you went here, you only had a girlfriend, so the chances of like something going wrong were much higher.
Yeah,
I think.
true, and yeah, I didn't really know what's gonna happen, and I was really wanting to get a job at Crytek at that time. And it kind of worked out perfectly, so... yeah,
Kinda.
so I don't know.
You're still here, so yeah, it definitely worked out.
Exactly, so I'm kind of happy with it. Although I really miss my family. It's still very hard to live so far from your parents, I think. At least for me, I'm very like family oriented, so it's a bit difficult.
How often do you see them per year?
Like 2-3 times. It's not...
Yeah, it's rough, man.
Maybe not even that many times.
Yeah, my family is like 4 or 5 hours away by car. I'm going home actually this weekend. My grandma's turning 98.
Yeah, so I had to finish this game because of Max on Thursday, and I thought I would have one more day. So thank you, but like very happy birthday to your grandma, like already.
That's bad luck, man.
Why? Is it?
I will tell her on her birthday that you said hi.
Cool.
Yeah, we're recording on Thursday because I'm leaving early tomorrow.
Yeah, and usually we record on Friday, just so you guys know. And by the way, we never mentioned it, but we want to put out an episode every Monday, consistently. So that's we've been following, but we actually never mentioned it on the podcast itself, which is weird. I don't know why. But every Monday, guys, video, audio, Monday. So check it out.
Yeah, I was thinking about it last week too when we ended the episode. I was like, damn it, I should have said it.
Exactly.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
This week we also going to put out 2 episodes since we have a spoiler cast as well, but this one is going to be the normal episode. So let's get back into it. What's my question, Bence?
Okay, so your question is, Max, is what is your first pet you ever had, and what is your favorite animal?
My first pet that I ever had. Like my personal pet
family,
or my family
like if you felt like like family is okay, I guess, and like, but also what's your favorite animal other than the pet?
My favorite animal would be... Oh, that's so tricky. I would say red panda because they're adorably cute.
Wow, that's a unique answer, to be honest.
Dude, like red pandas are crazy cute. They're just so tiny and have like these little red ears and stuff, and they look adorable. They're almost as cool as raccoons, which are nature's ninjas.
True, very true.
The question about the first pet that I ever owned is layered again, because last week I already had 2 answers, so I'm gonna have 2 answers this week as well. Let's keep up the tradition. Hooray.
Oh, it's kind of on topic, and I don't want to ask like the same kind of question, 2 times. It's just like better to get it out.
No, that's totally valid, man. So the first animal I ever owned myself was like a pet bunny that I had with a girlfriend. It was a male bunny. It was like gray, brownish, and his name was Benjamin.
So after me, obviously.
He sadly died.
Oh,
yeah, no. Yeah, he sadly died. When I was studying in Finland, a cat kind of got to him because the bunny was always roaming the entire house. Yeah, we have this weird policy in my family that the bunny is at night in the cage, but then throughout the day, the bunny can like roam around the entire house. Like we have a new bunny again, Ellie.
That's a good name choice.
She has like her little toilet, and she's sitting with my grandma all day and wants to be petted and wants to get like little treats and stuff. And usually they're just sleeping next to each other. Like my grandma's dozing off, the bunny's just lying there next to her. It's very adorable. Yeah, so that was my first animal. And the first animal that when I was born, my parents had a dog, which really didn't like kids.
Oh wow.
Our neighbors kind of teased the dog when he was little. And since then, he just could not stand kids. So when we were sitting at the lunch table or something, the dog was always underneath just barking and wanted to like bite me and stuff. So since then, I've been kind of really scared about dogs.
You're just man, like...
I really have like issues with dogs.
What is love?
Yeah, Levy.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, definitely. I think it's fine if I know the dog, like when it's little, but like... If people come around with like bigger dogs and stuff, it's just a bit.
You were not
scary.
so scared of my cat though, even though it killed your bunny, one cat. So.
Well, your cat didn't, and I still find cats adorable.
True. Like mine is not really aggressive, I guess. He's right here sleeping under my feet.
No, your cat's just sleeping and eating.
True. And pooping.
And destroying your cables, and mine
not
as
really
well.
Anymore, no.
Oh, cool. So I can come back around with the MacBook without the cat destroying
Well,
the
he
cable.
probably learned to destroy your MacBook, so I wouldn't count on that. But yeah.
Worst case, we film the cat like just playing around with a keyboard.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
a good answer.
let's
Max.
get into what we've played because we only played The Last of Us.
Yeah, we played a lot of Last of Us. It came out on Friday, and now it's Thursday, so we finished it within a week basically.
Yeah, it came out over midnight from Thursday to Friday last week.
True, yeah, but we didn't play that. At least I didn't play that midnight, just the following day.
No, I didn't either. I was too busy. That midnight was the EA Play thing, and that happened in Germany at like 1 a.m. So it was super weird if I would have started, played 1 hour, then watched an hour of EA stuff, and then went back to the game, and then like after an hour straight back to sleep because work. That would have been super weird.
Exactly.
So I just held it off, started on Saturday. Like basically, I can't even remember what I did that weekend. I think I got up, ordered pizza, went back to bed, and just kept playing.
That's my last 2 days basically. I played so much Last of Us in the last 2 days. Jeez.
Yeah, man. I finished The Last of Us on Tuesday, I want to say, and then on Tuesday and Wednesday, I pre-prepped all the assets that we need for like the covers and stuff.
Yeah. So wait.
Alright.
Let's dive into it. Like, it's a good topic to start with because I finished the first Last of Us game, Last of Us 1, in like 2 years time. And I finished this in 5 days. And this game is, I think, way longer than the first one. At least it felt longer to me. So
It's so much longer, man.
yeah, exactly. So
I finished the first Last of Us in 3 days, I think. I had like 3 play sessions, and they weren't as extensive as these. This game is so much longer.
yeah, so much longer. And but it was pretty fun to play it in one go. I don't usually play games like this I mentioned. I just do it over a longer period and take it way slower. But now I just really leaned into it because of the podcast to get this thing done. I was actually still playing 1 hour ago when I finished the game, just so we can get this recorded tonight, guys. So just I put in a lot of effort into it.
No, what you should have said is you should have played more over the weekend. How dare you?
Well, I played. I just didn't expect it to be this long. I think we can actually tie in how much we played right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think I tied it up at like 32 hours my first playthrough, and now I'm in New Game Plus.
Okay, so you 32, and for me it's 26:51. So I beat you with 5 hours or 6 hours.
Yeah, I guess I just spent a lot of time just staring at things.
But the weird thing is I did that too, except in the second part of the game, which is different, but I don't want to go into that right now because that is for the spoiler part. But yeah, I spent a very long time on everything in the first part, but we still spent like more than a day of playtime in like 5-6 days. So that's still kind of crazy.
I got a fun little question before we move on. So, what is your favorite little detail in the game, without spoilers, and the worst little detail in the game? I can go first because I already have something in mind. So, my favorite little detail is that in the first game you can upgrade weapons, right? But in this game you can as well. But every time you upgrade anything on your like weapons, it plays this really cool animation. Yeah. It's so cool. Like it took me immediately aside, like the way they just take them apart and put them back on, and how the weapon changes. Like
I actually had a note even to mention this. That's definitely my favorite detail too. Like it's always so satisfying when they take the weapons apart, like shine it, clean it, put everything in place, screw it in. It's so cool. Yeah.
So much effort has been put into this. It's crazy. It was really cool. And then the worst part is, I think in every trailer and in every whatever marketing sound bit, you always hear the guitars. So the guitar is like popping up in the game a couple of times, and they have this weird mini game in which you can like tilt the analog stick and you can pick a chord, and then you touch the touchpad on the controller, and it plays a string. And I found that really, really weird because you do this little mini game thingy. It's not even a game. It's just you follow the chords and then it's just a cutscene plays. But I thought that was the worst thing in the game. That was literally the worst thing in the game for me, what I thought. But I went online and I saw people playing songs on this thing. They were replaying like "Hurt" by Johnny Cash, "Smoke on the Water," so much crazy things, also from Metallica and a whole bunch of other bands. And I just can't comprehend how people can play on this little tiny thing. And I thought it was the worst thing ever, and I didn't understand why it was in there in the first place. But it's so crazy what people can
I
do
mean,
with
I
this.
tried to play it a few
They're not
songs
even
too,
any.
because when you like, you can just go to the guitar and just play on it randomly without having to follow what it says, the instructions, and like practice or whatever. And since it gives you the chords and it already holds down the notes in each chord, it's very easy to play almost anything you want, because
Oh,
yeah.
really?
So like you just pick a song and kind of look at the chords, and then you can basically play it right away. But it's hard because the touchpad is like not so big, and each string was like divided into the 5 parts. So it actually mattered if you like swipe down or up, and it played different strings and all. So that if you play songs that like have to play different strings, that's hard. But like chord wise, it's pretty simple to play almost anything.
Yeah, that's what I figured because the touchpad is so tiny, right? You have to like play the right string on the tiny, tiny little touchpad.
Exactly, and I
Yeah, that
even
was
fucked up
the
many
worst
times
thing
with
that
them.
turns.
Like
Yeah, that was the worst thing for me that turned into like one of the best things for some reason.
yeah, you know, like because you have to like play these chords, as you said, like it shows what you have to hold and like just string it. And a lot of times, even though I like swiped down completely, it just played one string for some reason, and sometimes the whole thing. So it was kind of messy with that, but it was kind of funny. Like I like music a lot, and I can play the guitar. And Ellie is actually holding down the chords properly, which is impressive. So that's even attention to detail that
Yeah,
she
man.
like in movies usually and series they just like do this, right, like nothing, holding nothing. But in this game she was actually holding the proper chords.
The attention to detail in this game is insane.
Yeah, like even I even
Alright,
like these
so
writings on the boards. I sometimes just wandered around and like looked at buildings and what they've wrote on some boards, and it's always like something relevant and super small details, and it's really funny. So that's really cool as well.
yeah, we're gonna get into the environmental storytelling a bit later
Yeah.
on. So, what was your favorite thing, or do you just align
Yeah, I
with me
align with the weapons,
guns?
but like I don't really have like a versed attention to detail. That's hard to.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? It was just this one thing that stuck out to me, but in retrospect, even the worst thing was like turned into something really, really cool for some reason out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
fun.
just couldn't comprehend why it was in the game in the first place. And then after, when I like went on YouTube, I saw all these people doing the covers, and I was like, my mind was blown.
Yeah, it's not so hard, but yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I don't have like a versed detail that I didn't like. It was all fine, I think. Like it was actually like
Alright,
parts was
then-
very nicely done overall. I think like all the details everywhere, like Naughty Dog usually does.
All right, speaking of general details, general details. Let's start with audio and get into the game and what we're thinking.
So audio. You mentioned the guitar. The guitar is like was kind of a core part of everything. Like all the songs were very guitar centric even, but all the voice acting, all the sound effects, the environmental sounds, everything, like even glass shattering was so realistic, so well done. I was super impressed with the audio. This was one of the highlights of the game actually. So I don't really have anything bad to say about that, honestly. I enjoyed everything. You can instantly tell where you are, what kind of environment, what is happening just by listening to the audio. And it was super cool. Especially I play on like these 5.1 speakers, so I can hear things coming from behind me and like from my left or right side, from the middle. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a spatial audio, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same stuff we have?
No, in Hunt, well, we have 5.1 as well, but we use stereo audio mainly on PC, especially, which is just like 2.0. So. But it's binary, so it's like spatial. But in here, I selected 5.1, so it's like 5 angles. No, I didn't play with headphones, so.
Yeah. I think the same thing about the audio. Like the quality is top notch. I expected honestly nothing else from Naughty Dog because all the other games have the same kind of quality. What I specifically think about The Last of Us is that audio is such a major role of this game, like just the creature sounds and the environment in general. I remember from the first game when I was playing it on Crushing, and you don't have the button where you can like listen and see enemies and stuff, like basically the Assassin's Creed Vision, Eagle Vision or
Yeah.
whatever. That game is crazy scary because you have to like sneak through the clickers in the first game and in the beginning of the game, like through a rail station or something. It's super early on. And I think there's like two clickers and a couple of runners, and the clickers have like this very specific pattern and they walk. And if you play on Crushing, you have barely any resources, so you have to like go step by step and go through them while you hear like these clicking sounds all
Yeah, that
around
sound
you.
is really
And
creepy.
it's super
itself.
dark.
Like the clicker sound is just like the creepiest shit. I have nightmares from that. Like, it's like, what the hell? It sounds a bit like the spider, like a spider. I don't know, like a spider climbing on walls. These legs. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like predator.
Yeah.
Predator.
Do you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why they make the clicking sounds?
I have no idea actually.
It's because of the infection, right? It's like a fungal infection. So the runners are newly
Yeah, I know that it's like the
newly
second
infected,
stage
and
of the infection, right?
they lose their eyesight because the fungal is growing out of their brains, because it goes like into your nose, then sits in the stem of your brain, and then it grows outwards. That's why they always have these flowers on their heads, and it like tears open the teeth thing. Oh my god. And they do this clicking sound because it's like a sonar for them. They can't see, that's why you can use flashlights in the game without them detecting you. But the clicking sound is, if they like make this forward movement and the sound and you are in front of them, they can still detect you even though they're blind technically.
Yeah, true.
That's why you always have to sneak up behind them.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense like that for sure. But they are so creepy. I just hate them. Like, I really hate clickers in both games. It's the same. They are just so scary. Like, even the sound scares me. I usually get scared by games. Although this game, I didn't really get scared for some reason. Like, well, there was one part which was scary, but overall, I was not like I didn't feel terrorized, even though like as we said, the environment and the audio is on top notch. I don't know. It's just not really horror. You're more in for the story and the ride, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that a bit later on because it's like one of literally what you start out the game with. In the first game, you had to craft shivs to like take down clickers and stuff. You couldn't really take them out otherwise, only with weapons. In this game, you have a knife from the beginning.
Only with one character.
That makes a lot of things.
Like you play multiple characters in this game, and one character has a knife and the other doesn't.
Yeah, that makes things a bit harder. So I can see why the game, like the gameplay feels a bit more action oriented because of the new tools that you have and the
Yeah, we can go into the exaction when we talk about gameplay.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree. Like it's definitely a bit more action packed than like more. You can do more stuff, but let's dive into that after we talk about the visuals of the game. So what do you think?
Yeah, let's go right into graphics.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think?
It's the best looking PS4 exclusive game, I guess. Uncharted 4 looked amazing. This is just built on top of the Uncharted engine. A lot of mechanics from Uncharted kind of make a return with a new twist on them. Looks really great. I mean, there's nothing to complain. Like, I'm gonna get a bit more into the environments later on, but like graphic-wise, it's crazy. I think the first area has like a lot of snow, and you literally like walk through the snow, and the puddles behind you just keep going. They don't disappear at all. Or you bump into like a tree, and you see like the snow falling off like the branches and stuff. Yeah, I mean, the attention to detail, like we mentioned before, is insane in this game. Insane. And if you combine the graphics and the fidelity, I think the original looked a bit more cartoony, and you had like some colors that didn't really make sense. So you can separate the settings from each other and make like every level unique so you can remember them better. This one is really opting for like very desaturated realism, I think, and they pulled this off so immaculate. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I agree. The graphics look really good, like even for a PlayStation game, even though it's not the PC Master Race. It looks, as you said, like there's a lot of similarities between Uncharted 4. You can definitely notice some stuff in the vegetation, especially, I think, which it reminds me of sometimes, and like even gameplay wise. And it reminded me of Red Dead Redemption 2. That's another game that looks graphically really stunning on the PlayStation as well, and it also has very similar environments to this game, and also like crazy attention to detail, as Rockstar Games is known for that as well. And it just reminded me of that a lot of times. But this game had a lot of different areas, different sections of the game with completely different environments, and then there was a big section which was very similar for a very long time as well. But yeah, it's really realistic. Even the characters, I would say sometimes it's almost uncanny valley that they look so real but still a bit gamey, and that makes it almost creepy in a way, if you know what I mean. Like it's sometimes a bit weird because of that, but I like it. It's funny, and yeah, it looks amazing. So graphics, audio, visuals, both are very top notch. So I can't even wait how it will look on the PS5.
Yeah, if something looks super close to life but isn't quite there yet, that's called uncanny valley effect.
Yeah, exactly. I have that feeling all
Yeah,
the time.
Yeah, the cutscene and the characters, I think they were there for me. I was expecting a game, I wasn't expecting a movie, so I wasn't really looking for like real realism, but I think as close as they got, it's real.
You know what's crazy? Like you mentioned cutscenes. Like as the game transitions from cutscenes into gameplay, sometimes you can't even tell. I think it's the most seamless out of all games I've ever played. Like in the beginning, I literally, like as the game starts with a cutscene and then it goes into gameplay, I was literally not moving because I thought it's still a cutscene. I was even messaging you like, holy shit. I even sent you a picture that, dude, this game looks insane.
Yeah, I remember. A lot of games do that. A good way of figuring out if it's still a cutscene or not is if the camera like ever so slightly tilts to the left side, like right behind the character. That's always the moment where you know, like, yeah, or I'm about to play, or yeah, I can already play.
True.
It's like a really subtle thing, and that happens like 20 billion times in this game as well.
True.
But let's go from the graphics directly into the environmental graphics, because you already mentioned them. Like you have very separate levels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you can still distinguish them in a way. Like if you think back about the chapters, and they do this really smartly about like times of day, the weather, and a whole bunch of different stuff that like sets the environments apart from each other, so you can still remember. Like in the first game, you were like in a old broken down town, but you were also in another broken down town, but you can still distinguish all of them because the color palettes will ever so slightly different. And the same thing kind of happens here. It's still like desaturated realism kind of, in which you have a lot of like blues and grays and like really like it's what's it called, this green tone that is like very vibrant. Yeah,
I mean there's
Very
even a lot of
vibrant,
vegetation in most parts of the game. Like there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of grass, branches, and that makes the whole scenery very greenish, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like for example, if it's raining, everything is just a bit more dire, and you have like some going on, and the environment itself is like changing towards it. And I think it's very smartly done because, like you said, a lot of time is spent in this one place, which I mean everybody knows at this point because it was all over the marketing thing. But when you say it, it doesn't matter. It's like literally in the opening thing, doesn't matter. But yeah, the way they play around with the same environment is just insane. How they like go from thing to thing.
Yeah, I really like the times of day you mentioned. Like there's these morning pinkish times of day in the game which are absolutely beautiful. Those are, I think, my favorite. It's just looks so damn good. It's crazy. It's like stunning.
Yeah, man.
But like tying it back to graphics as well, I think like they had a bit easier time. I mean, like environments and level and gameplay that the game is very linear, so they don't have to do like huge open spaces. That's why I feel like these areas can be like so detailed and so graphically insane, because it's not like a giant area in most parts of the game except like one. But yeah, so that's why I think they could do it on this generation, like or dying generation, basically, to achieve this graphical fidelity and like on this, like it's really really impressive, and I think they did a great job. There's not even many FPS spikes. I only had one spikes next to like where there was a lot of waves coming out of the ocean in one part, and then I could feel my frame rate dying basically. But overall I think it was pretty stable. Even on the Pro, I was playing on the Pro.
You play? Yeah, I was wondering. I'm still playing on the original, so.
Yeah, but I play in 4K though, so you don't play in 4K, right?
No.
Yeah, so I think that also affects it a lot.
How many glitches did you have overall, by the way?
Yeah, so we talked about this because I was always messaging Max like, Max, I died. I even recorded a glitch where I died because I knew that I'm gonna die, so I just paused it and recorded it for Max. I like got stuck on a toilet and I couldn't move or dodge anything, and I just died. So I had like 4 or 5 glitches in the game. In the beginning, I had a weird audio glitch where one of my partner, instead of her foot sounds like stepping and walking, running, it sounded like a horse for some reason. That was kind of funny and very confusing. Then I had one which didn't really affect my game. Like for a few seconds, I could see through the whole map, like kind of when you fall through the floor and can see everything. And then I had this glitch, when I just glitched into a toilet and died. And like few smaller ones, like I ran through one wall somehow once, but that didn't really matter either. It was just like a one time up. So overall, I'm pretty okay with the bugs and glitches. It's not bad at all. I died once. That was the only one that really affected me, and that's not even a big deal because the game auto saves very consistently, so you can just like get right back into it.
Yeah, man. Did you watch the movie Zombieland?
Is that the one when they go to the stadium at the end, or is it not? Oh no, that's a series. Sorry, no. Sorry.
No, like the main character makes like a bunch of rules in the beginning, and like one of them is, I think, always make sure that nobody's there, and he's like a really scared pooper or something. And he has like these fears that a zombie clown comes underneath the toilet stall and attacks him.
Yeah, that's what happened to me basically. I was like literally on top of a toilet and like couldn't get up, and I just got like smacked and I just died on the toilet. So poor Ellie.
I think you might win the most awkward death in The Last of Us.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't have it.
Wait, actually, what we forgot to mention
any glitches at all
is our difficulty settings. What did you use?
I went on normal.
Okay, so I went on normal as well.
I always
Yeah,
do always the first playthrough on normal, just to like see how it is. If it's too easy, then I spike it up. Have you checked out the accessibility settings in this game?
Nope, but I saw that there was a bunch.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research after I finished the game. Apparently, you can change this game in a whole bunch of ways. You can make the AI smarter. You can make it dumber. You can basically highlight every object that you can pick up in the game. You can slow down time. You can just make there's so many options how you can like spike the difficulty for yourself.
Oh yeah, I even seen that you can make your
easy, you can still change it.
Yeah, you can make your partner much better at like fighting AI and stuff like that. I know, I saw that, but I left everything in normal.
You can change the entire controller layout for every button as well. Like you can literally make this the most accessible game for yourself ever.
I feel like that's pretty nice.
If you don't like one specific thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Especially
cool.
people who are
Naughty
really
Dog.
just in for the story. Like they don't want to mess with like AI really, or like shooting and the action scenes. Then you just kind of set it too easy, I guess, to make your partners really strong, slow down time when you have to fight, and then you can just get through it very easily. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, the Uncharted games always had like something like a tourist mode in which you can just breeze through the game, kind of. So they were always good about that. The thing about this is that you can literally tailor the game to your skill level, or like for example, if you have a disability or something and you can't really play, or like you're colorblind or deaf or something, I'm pretty sure you can still tailor this game to you, that even with these disabilities you can still play the game. It's crazy. It's really cool. Yeah, just wanted to mention that. I had that in my notes later on, but I mean, if we gotten into it now,
Yeah, then we can go into gameplay right with that, I guess.
yeah, you were talking about all the vegetation that's in the game. Like one of the new things is that you can actually, what is it, when you like go on your all fours, crouch forward. It's not crouching, but
proning
it's...
and like, yeah, you can like basically
Yeah,
prone in the
proning.
grass and crouch and prone. So like there's like 3 states basically now. So you can stand up, which is obviously like the most visible, everyone can basically see you. Then you can crouch, which in the short grass you are still visible to enemies, but in the longer grass you're still hidden. And then proning is basically you are just hidden most of the time, and you make the least amount of noise with that.
And if you're in the tall grass and prone and try to aim, it goes into like stance mode basically, because if you're in stance and aim, you basically stand up. So if you aim while in crouch, people can see you, but if you're in prone and aim, you're more hidden. But also if you're in tall grass, for example, you can't really see where you're aiming if you're not in the perfect
Exactly. I
position.
was thinking, oh, I wish this game was like a first-person shooter, so I could like see properly when I'm aiming. But no, you just see all the grass basically in front of your screen, so it's not really that useful.
Yeah, but that's perfect. Otherwise, it would be too easy, right?
I mean, you still have to shoot people with a controller, which is for me already a great challenge, Max. So I don't know about you.
I don't know, man. I was basically feeling like Batman. I was just taking out enemies. Nobody knew what was hit them except bricks.
Oh, yeah, so that's the level design. There's way more ways to deal with enemies. There's a lot of cracks in each wall, little holes you can climb to. You can prone under, climb behind enemies. So I feel like the stealth mechanic has been like increased way more. Like you can make it way more stealthier and like with style, so you can actually, as you said, like Batman can go in a little crack and climb behind your enemy. Like obviously as you like press the analog stick stronger or like more gently, than your character walks with that speed, so you can actually go really quiet behind the actually pretty stupid AI in my opinion, and then you can kill them. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, you can crank the AI levels up if you felt it was too
Yeah,
easy.
like, but I feel like for normal
Accessibility.
AI, they were a bit too dumb at places. Like you're literally like crouching in front of them, and they can't see you and stuff like that. I don't know. It's sometimes funny, but I mean, like, again, I
Oh, no,
don't
never
really
had
care
that.
about
Enemies
enemies.
always...
Like those parts for me are not
Yeah.
that important in that game. It's the same as in Uncharted. It just it's another action scene, get through it, kill everyone, then your character very nicely tells you that they are all dead, and then you can move on.
Yeah, the combat arenas got way bigger, so much bigger, and also vertical, because now you actually have a jump button and you climb up a bunch of things. You can crouch, prone, everything. There's so many more options. Also, now you can craft silencers for your gun.
Oh, that's really useful. I love the
It's-
silencers actually.
It plays so much more fluid.
But you forgot to mention
you
something,
played the
Max,
original...
that you can dodge in this game. Actual dodge button.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a huge change.
Yeah,
Like I think
that
if
is
you go
very
back to the
true.
first game, it will feel weird that you can dodge. Like that's a huge change.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. You played the first game a couple of weeks, months ago, right? To finish it
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
first time?
Like 2-3 months ago.
I talked to a bunch of people who played like the second one and actually finished it. The first one feels so much more cumbersome now if you go back, and it feels so much less fluid. It's crazy. I've went online to look at people and their like gameplay videos, and the way they like fall on the floor, aim, it literally looks like John Wick. You throw a Molotov cocktail at one enemy, go behind something, fall down, jump in the water, get back out the other side, then take another enemy out with stealth. But you don't kill him, you just grab him, then headshot another enemy with like the silencer on your gun, kill the other enemy with the knife, then go back down in the water, go back up, shoot the dude on the front, the other dude behind you sees you, you fall back down, lie on the floor prone, and then shoot the other dude in the head. It's crazy.
Yeah, so
It's
yeah.
crazy.
So they definitely expanded on the gameplay and the ways you can deal with enemies, which makes it way more fun. But it's still very similar to the old gameplay. So in its core, it's still completely the same, but expanded upon. So it doesn't feel like weird compared to the same game, like the old game. I mean, you can tell that this is definitely Last of Us gameplay, but you have a few more options to deal with everything, basically.
Yeah, it did this pretty smartly. They introduced the new mechanics to you, like step by step, and then introduced back the enemies that were in the original game. But then they introduced new enemies, which basically flew every tactic that you had completely over the head, and you are limited in some a little bit further on in your game, and you have to like change your tactics as well. And the environments also change a bit. So they always like mix things up, which was cool.
Yeah, true. But overall, I expected a bit more change gameplay wise, because it's still, as I said, it feels very much like the first game. I don't know what I exactly expected, but yeah, I'm overall happy with the gameplay, I think. But I don't think that's a strong point of this game, in my opinion, compared to like the graphics and the audio is really like one of the best, but the gameplay is I would even say it sometimes gets really boring at points in the game, when you just feel like it's very repetitive, and you just do the same thing all over again in different environments, basically.
Yeah, that's the length of the game that we were talking about in the beginning. I think like maybe they could have trimmed like one or two combat areas as well. I agree. Like at some point during like the weekend, I felt very burned out because I was just doing the same things all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have multiple play sessions, I think it evens out more. But I think they probably could have cut like one or two things.
Yeah, I agree.
But compared to the original, I think they improved a lot of things and made it way more dynamic. The way you like think about combat in general. And if you compare like Uncharted 1, 2, 3 to 4, I don't think there's like a leap like crazy if you think about that. So I think they did the best they could with maintaining the DNA that they had. Like the original, I played a lot of the multiplayer. Um, I don't know.
Does
what it
this
was
game
called,
even
like
have this game
factions
doesn't
or
have a
something.
multiplayer, right? At all.
No, they don't. They mentioned that they want to maybe add a multiplayer in the
Ah,
future,
okay.
but they don't add it to this game specifically. Maybe they add it as like a DLC later on, or they put out a standalone game or something, like the Resistance thing from Resident Evil, because we haven't mentioned Resident Evil yet.
Yeah. So well, there was like another point about the gameplay for me, but I can't really remember it, Max. Like it was actually a big point, but I just can't think of it right now. We will get back to it later if I remember.
We can sit here in silence and take a pregnant pause while you think about it for like half an hour. How about that?
Oh yeah, okay. Now you reminded me. So about the puzzles and like how you go around the different places. So the puzzles were super easy and almost the same every single time. Like you didn't really have to think about anything really. Like you don't even need literally a brain for it. And they added like these ropes in the game, which is new. And then you use it like 5 times, and that was it.
Oh my god, the ropes are so insane. You can do so much with the ropes. The physics on these things
Yeah, they are legit ropes, right? But like
insane.
they were in the game like 5-6 times in the whole 30 hours, so I don't know. Like they could have, I felt like they could have put it in more times or like used it multiple times, because usually you just jump and like climb through a wall, climb up a thing. It's like very, very straightforward.
So the way the ropes work is that you pick up a rope and it's attached on one end to something heavy. So you can pick it up, move it to some other object, or throw it. And the thing is that the environment reacts to it. So I've seen this video. It's pretty early on. You throw the rope through a room. All right, so you have to break a window on a house with a stone. Now you can break windows too. You break the window on the house. You take the rope. You throw it in the house. You go into the house. And then you had to like plug it in or something. But the thing is, you can walk all the way to the exit and then walk a loop back around. So you see the rope inside the room, and if you pull it or walk far enough, it's too long, so you get like pulled back. But the dude was walking around a chair, and the chair got hung up on the rope and was pushed towards the desk.
Well, that's kind of cool. Physics, yeah.
It's insane. And that's just one example. You can throw it like through, if you're on the first floor and you see like some kind of, I don't know, edge, you can throw it over the edge, jump against the rope, and the rope hangs from the edge. and you can like use it as a gameplay tool. It's like the physics on this thing are insane.
Yeah, it was very, I really liked
Man,
it. But
such a cool thing.
But they, I felt like they just didn't use it enough, as I said. Like, it was really cool, and like that was actually sometimes when you actually had to think like where you want to put the rope, how exactly. That were the only few parts when I was like not always sure. But the other parts were very simple. And another
Yeah.
big change. You can actually swim in this game, unlike the first one. I mean, you don't have these little boards anymore where you just put Ellie on and like slide through, but she can actually swim. It's crazy.
Thank God. That would have been really annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's about gameplay. So yeah, for me, the gameplay, it's okay. Not like super impressed. Not bad. It's okay.
I'm like actually really not well. I'm very delighted about what they added to it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I don't want to say impressed because the first game impressed because it was new. We already seen what the game is and what it's supposed to do. So I don't think they could have done too much. If they would have changed it up too much, it would have been a completely different game. But the way they modernized it and just made it way more fluid and way more compelling to play, I think is a huge step forward. And I'm really happy with what they did. All right. So moving from gameplay into narrative, which is going to be the most tricky part to avoid spoilers for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think we should just say that how you felt about it overall, and then yeah, again, guys, we will have a separate video which is basically only focused on that. We will only talk about the story and the narratives and all the spoilers that you are probably interested or maybe not at all. So yeah.
All right, let's paint with the brushes strokes. This game started out really strongly for me, then kind of fell off a cliff, and I wasn't sure what they were thinking at all. And I haven't heard any other leaks, I didn't watch any other trailers, wasn't sure what was about to happen at any point of this game. And I just kept playing, and at some point it just clicked for me, because I understood what they were doing in the first couple of segments where I felt really bad, because you were supposed to kind of feel that way. And it just kind of really clicked for me, and from there on out, it just got better and better and better and better and better until you hit the ending of the game. And it all kind of like aligned. The only downside I would say is that people who don't play long enough, or maybe what we're gonna get into later on as well, is if you actually read any of the spoilers or already had like preconceived notions of what was about to happen or something, or something we get deeper into the spoiler cast, I think it might have actually hampered your enjoyment of the game because you knew what was happening later on as well. But for me, and since I didn't know anything, it just got better and better and better because it just clicked at that point. I don't know.
Okay, wait.
That's
So
how
I
I
can
felt
talk
about
about
the
the
game. How about
spoilers
you?
a bit. So like the spoilers that were shown happened very early on the game, so it doesn't affect you that much. Like you kind of expect that. I mean, yeah, you don't expect it to happen, but obviously if you've seen the spoiler, you know it's gonna happen. But it's very, very early in the game, so I don't think that actually mattered as much.
Oh.
Like you can probably guess what
didn't
the
know that
big
at all.
spoiler is. It's from very early.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So for me it was kind of different actually than how you felt about it. It's kind of hard without saying exact things happening, but
Right.
so I basically really care about the previous main characters, and I don't really care about the new characters. So as you said that you got into the story more and more later in the game, for me I just didn't care as much. So for me that made like a completely different experience. I would say for me the story and narrative is actually the weakest point of the whole game. That like I think it's like we see these reviews on Metacritic by users like 4 and 3 and 0, which is complete bullshit. This game is even if you completely dislike the story or hate it, I think it still deserves like at least a 7 and 8 just for the game itself. I think even if you have never played the first game, you may be a bit confused in the beginning, but maybe then it's actually a better experience for you overall because you're not so attached to all the characters, and you can look at it as the separate thing in itself. But I feel like the lot of negative critics regarding a game is from players that are just very attached to the old story and don't look at it like you, because you were really happy with all new characters and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, for me it was the same feeling. I was kind of disappointed, and I will tell in the spoiler cast exactly why, and for each character why. But yeah, that's just my overall feeling about the game.
Yeah, I took like a rough look at the Metacritic scores, like the negative ones, and I just scrolled through them, and a bunch of them are really just nonsense. Like the ones that are like 1, 2, 3, I think, are all complete just one-word reviews or like one sentence of insults and just don't make sense at
No,
all.
yeah, like this guy, the
I
game
think the
is
ones that
definitely
actually-
not a bad game. Like no matter how you look at it, even if you hate almost everything, it will still be a 7-8 game. Like it's just a really good game overall, even if you hate the story, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, there's also a lot of reviews of people who haven't even bought or played the game at all, who just want to kind of be part of this and just shit on the game. If you look at the most mediocre games ever on IGN, I think they're still all scored around like a 6.5 or a 5.5. So if you go lower than that, that game is like properly broken, because those are the games that you can't even
Okay,
like
but that's
properly play.
IGN's rating. But like if we like look at like if 5 is average.
But I mean like general website ratings.
But I look
as
at it kind
well.
of like 5
Like,
is would be
usually-
the middle point, and like if it's below 5, then it's worse than the average game, and if it's above, then it's better. And even if this game, if I hate the story and I'm disappointed with a lot of things, I still think it's way above average. Like it's still a very good game. I enjoyed it, and yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. My point was that it just doesn't make any sense
No.
if you lump in that game so low. Even if you, I can totally see how people can't really jive with that story. But anything underneath like a 5 is just absolutely.
Well, I know
nonsense to
that this
me.
game was actually kind of cancelled because when they showed in the trailers Abby, which is one of the characters, she's like really muscular, which is also like that in the game. And the people thought that she's transgender and that the game is pushing towards this social justice warrior agenda. And that's why people already got angry and already rated it 0 points without even playing the game or knowing anything about it, because it's not even true in the game. It has nothing to do with that. It's like, it's just...
Can you?
Yeah, so that's why they actually rated it down. So that's like insanely stupid, and I don't even know why people are like that. Like it had nothing to even do with
Was
that.
that like? Was that like the launch trailer or? what
I'm
was
not
that?
sure. There, like you can see Abby in the first few videos, I guess, and she is like big arms, and then everyone thought, oh, Abby is like a transgender female to male person. But it's not even like it has not
Yeah, I
even like it has nothing to do with the actual game, and it's actually completely explained why she's muscular, basically. So
Yeah, I remember there was this trailer, I think it was like 2 years ago at some E3 or something. Something in the forest where she was like hung or something, and it was like super gruesome. Nobody knew what was happening. It's that nobody knew, and a whole bunch of shit. And then in the end, like some clickers come running towards you. That was the only hint that it was actually the last of us.
yeah, it's probably that, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that was I think the first time we actually saw her. Yeah, now it makes more sense, obviously, but we're not gonna get into that.
No.
So let's just move on instead. So we talked about the leaks. So I didn't know that it was just about the beginning of the game. So we kind of can skip over this and maybe talk a bit more about this specifically and what it meant in the spoiler run. But let's just talk about the narrative overall about 1 versus 2, because you liked 1 a lot, right?
Yes, the expression. It's weird because in 1, it was really hard for me to get into the game because of the gameplay. And this is almost, and I really like the story and the narrative. And this was kind of the opposite because the gameplay was overall more fun and like more accessible, I guess. Like more stunningly beautiful and like just like very immersive. But then the narrative, for me, it just went downhill, honestly, from the first game. Yeah.
And they thought they had it in the pocket with a narrative, so they were just focusing on gameplay, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think
For this one.
they, to give them like props. They tried to do something completely different that no one basically expected, but for me it didn't work out. So
Yeah. It would have been so easy just to like have the main characters just go on another journey or some bullshit.
yeah, I probably would have liked that more, honestly.
Yeah, but it would have been just the same again.
True.
And at that point, like, if you compare Uncharted 1 to 2, it's technically the same game, like, narrative-wise, even the story beats, and it's super weird.
But you still
I
like
think
all,
actually,
right? Like,
since
like you can always make up like a cool story, like just because it's the same characters. Like you like Harry Potter, and it's always just the same characters going on different adventures, and it's still like always exciting.
yeah,
right?
but the thing is, I like the story and the structure and like the themes of this game a lot, actually. And it's, like I said in the beginning, it didn't make any sense to me why they were showing me what they were showing and the way they structured this entire thing, because it just felt very out of place and weird.
Yeah, I think we should
the
talk
more I
more about
played it,
this in the spoiler section, actually, because like it's hard to
Yeah,
even
yeah.
mention the parts and the themes that are brought up without spoiling
Yeah,
half of the game.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
mention any of the themes or anything, but just the structure, like the structure of the narrative just confused me in a lot of the beginning, but later on, like I said, it just clicked for me and stuff fell into place. Like the stuff that was previously just didn't make sense to me at some point, just because of the new information, just started like clicking and.
Well, we
working
can
for
say
me.
that the structure of the game
Yeah.
is basically you can break it down to two main parts, and then
No. Let's not
I
get
think
into
you
it.
can
It's
I
gonna be
can
too
just say
dicey.
that structure. Like it's two main parts and then like an ending section basically, and there's a bunch of flashbacks in the both main parts. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, compare, like, since we mentioned the structure, the original is just
Three parts, right?
so well crafted. No, four actually. It's like
What
1
is
year.
summer?
So you have
Yeah.
summer, autumn, winter,
Yeah,
and
right.
spring. Oh my god!
Yeah, I
can't
don't even
put them
know.
in the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
order.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's right.
But yeah, it just make perfect sense, and that you like spend this entire year. It's just this really. You have the time frame established. You have like the overall chapters and changes in the characters established, and you go like from one place to another. And the way they interact with each other, and how each chapter affects the next one, and their decisions, and how they act towards each other is just so endearing. I don't know. Like the first one is just so well crafted for what it wants to do, because the narrative is really, really simple if you think about it. Like we said, it's literally just like kind of a journey.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
simple,
thing.
but you
you
almost
can-
feel like you are with the characters, which makes you part of the whole thing, which is why it's like genius.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really play up the emotions of them and really want you to relate to stuff. So it makes a lot of sense to have like all these little cute moments that they're having and struggles. Like you're always with them. Said. It just made a lot of sense. So in that regard, like the first one is still my favorite game of all time. So this one is definitely not replacing it. But I gotta say, like, well, since the next portion would be kind of rating this game, I would say this is probably on par with Bloodborne, and maybe those two games are the best PlayStation exclusives throughout the entire generation of the PS4.
So what's the score?
And this game
What's the
is
score?
kind of.
Have one number, Max.
All right, so it went from 7 all the way up to 9.5 for
Wow.
me. So in the end, I give it a 9.
Okay, interesting.
It's not perfect. Like I said, like the beginning, usually when a game starts out at 7 and you have to like play a long time to like for it to get better, that's usually a really bad sign, because a lot of people jump off. There's this really famous thing of Final Fantasy 13 where people say like, it's very linear, but if you play 30 hours, it opens up.
But this game was very linear
No.
as well, to be fair. Like super linear.
Yeah, but with Final Fantasy we're talking about JRPG, they're usually like
Open
somewhat
world,
open,
yeah.
and you get to explore and stuff. It felt like really railroaded, especially 13. Like a lot of people hate that game. I still do like that game.
Yeah, but to that point, like for Last of Us 1, as I said, it was hard for me to get into it. So in the beginning, I didn't enjoy it as much, and then I got attached to it, and so it also went like from like a lower to like a really high score.
Yeah, but the difference is the first one was the issued gameplay for you, but you were still invested in the characters, right?
True.
I think that does a lot of good, because you also have these games in which you do nothing else but just push your stick forward and make decisions with characters, like Life is Strange. Obviously, do a bit more, but kind of like these kind of games. The gameplay isn't great. but the narrative just drags you along. And the first one just has such a strong opening.
Yeah, I
and,
just wanted to mention
like,
that the opening is
opening
like
of the first
so
one.
sad. It's like the saddest thing you've ever seen, and then how it just continues from that. It's just so good.
The first Last of Us is crazy. Like it just pulls all of your heartstrings immediately. Like it just got
Yeah,
you
you
hooked
actually cry in the
instantly.
beginning,
Even if the
basically, right?
gameplay,
Like I got, I think, a bit here.
I
Yeah,
kind of did,
same.
yeah.
I was super sad how that game
I
started.
even cried on my third run, I
But in
think.
this game, I never felt any emotions like that. Actually, like I never felt like
I cried
really. I
twice.
never felt anything. At all. I only thing I felt during the game is sometimes laughing at people dying in the second part of the game, and I enjoyed that. And I was like, "Ha, you die, bitch! Ha, you die next." So that I enjoyed, but like I never felt any heart-wrenching emotions. No.
I did laughing at dying people in the first part of the game.
Really?
We're gonna talk
Okay,
about it later on.
interesting.
I have some really horrible this game and me just being totally inappropriate and laughing at that. Jesus. Yeah, what would you rate it though?
Yeah. So for me, as I said, it's like not as great as for Max. For me, it's like way for. I think overall I would rate it way worse than the last game, and I'm not even.
Well, the last game is a 10, so
Yeah, like maybe 9 out of 5 last game because of the beginning that it was hard to get into. Like a perfect game.
did you say 9 out of 5?
Yeah, so it's like 9 out of 5. That's a good rating, guys. Yeah, so 9.5 what I meant, obviously. So
Got it.
9.5.
I rated tomato out of
I don't
onions.
even know
Got
if
it.
there's a 10 out of 10 game, honestly, for me. Like a game that's just perfect in every way, it's super hard to achieve.
BioShock.
Would you say that's 10 out of 10 completely?
BioShock, yeah. I would also say Last of Us Part 1 is a 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah, so Last of Us Part 1, 9.5, I would say. And this, I'm like somewhere between 7 and 8.
Damn.
So maybe I would
Alright.
say 7.5 for me. And I'm not trying, like I still think it's a great game and everyone should play it. Like it's very good. But I would still not rate it higher than that just because of the story. If you played the first game, for me, didn't work out so well. But I think if you, as I said, I think maybe if you're a new player completely, I think maybe it would be a higher score for you because then you see the game differently. Yeah. So I would say 7.5.
I don't know, man.
And also, like
I
I
said,
don't agree with all the ratings, like all the critics rating being 10 everywhere, basically for everything. I don't think that's true either. Like it's not 4 and it's not 10. I think it's closer to a 10 though.
All right. So this segment is only for the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to me. Right now, Bence and I haven't talked about anything at all. Like he just finished the game.
Yeah.
So I still have time. Right now he gives a 7 or an 8. So we're gonna have an hour-long discussion about spoilers and the narrative. And I'm gonna hammer home why this game
And
is
then I would
awesome.
say, oh, it's a
and
0
then we'll
out
see.
of 10.
And then we'll
Thank you,
see.
Max. Uh-huh. All right.
0 out of 5. Yeah,
Okay,
got
so
it.
I guess you would say you would recommend it to everyone as well since you rated it so high. Yeah.
Ah, man. That's so tricky. Like I said, like I only didn't give it a 10 because the beginning is really hard to get into. And like you said, in the original, the opening, the narrative grabbed you. So even if the gameplay didn't work, you were still hooked on the story. So this one, the story like kind of appalls you in a way, and the the gameplay is so much better. So this one is really tricky to get into. If you can actually push through, the game gets really good. Like I said, but to get into it is the hard part. That's why I would not give it a 10. I still would recommend it to people. But don't look up spoilers, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense to really spoil yourself because that's kind of the point of the game. So, like, you don't really play for the action
Also-
but the story, so don't spoil it.
Also, what I would keep in mind is, if you have played the first one and played this one, right? All people are fucking terrible in this world. All of them. There's not one single good person. That's the entire premise of this fucking game series. Everybody's fucking horrendous. Like the nicest person in this game is still a douchebag and has probably killed a bunch of zombies and stuff.
Well, killing zombies is not a bad thing. I think there was like one good
Yeah,
person
but also
in this
other
game,
things.
right? Kinda. With regrets.
We can talk
yeah.
about it later. I'm gonna make a point that there's no people in this fucking world, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, I mean that's
All right,
true. Okay, well,
let's move on.
yeah. So that's it for this segment, I guess, right? Oh, what? Well, yeah, like that's all about the game right now in this segment, and then we will talk about the game itself in the spoiler cast.
So what do you want Naughty Dog next to make?
I don't know. I want one more Uncharted game, honestly. I just love the.
You want more
Yeah,
Uncharted?
I would be happy. I would just like the whole characters back, and like I want Nathan. I know like probably it won't be like with Nathan Drake anymore, but I would really like it.
So I tell you what, you're definitely gonna get a new Uncharted game, because a lot of rumors in the industry suggest that Sony is working on a new Uncharted game, but it won't be Naughty Dog.
Okay, that's weird.
I think they moved the IP to another of their studios.
Well, if it's the same quality, I don't mind.
Well, I mean,
same characters, same quality.
So the idea is that the leak suggests that it's not even a leak, it's a rumor. The rumor suggests that Sony San Diego is working on this game.
Mm-hmm.
They have multiple studios. Those are the people who work on MLB The Show, the baseball game that they bring out annually.
Uh-oh. Sports games. Oh.
The San Diego team is one of the hardest working studios in the entire industry, because they have every year to make a new MLB The Show game and make it like appealing to the people, and it's selling like crazy as well. Like, I have massive respect for them, and they have huge studio spaces, and half of the building nobody knows what's actually fucking.
But aren't like sports game
So
notorious to being just copies of the same game every year and just being monetized like crazy? I don't know how it's on PlayStation, but
I don't know. It's the first party franchise. Well, it's not a first party franchise. They just like are allowed to work with the IP. I think this year is actually the last year where they're allowed to publish like only on PlayStation. I think they restructured the deal with the people who own the IP, MLB. And next year, Sony is making first party exclusive game for, I think, Xbox and PC as well.
Okay, cool. Because like EA is notorious with like Madden and like the crazy monetization, and they own the whole American football genre, and no one else can make a game, and they are just shitting out the same game every year for crazy money.
Yeah, FIFA as well.
Yeah,
right?
FIFA is the same.
You have like all these weird trading cards and stuff, like literally loot boxes.
Exactly. It's crazy.
But I never heard anything about MLB The Show being this like grabby when it comes to money and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I am not really
like,
into sports games
to
or baseball. I guess that's a baseball game, right?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so I have no clue.
So the thing is with Sony, right? They want to sell you games so you get the consoles and stuff. They need to make an argument with their games to get their console.
Right.
So that's why the first party games are always so good and such high quality, because they want to give an experience that you can only experience on PlayStation. I mean, I'm gonna get a PS5. I don't even know what's gonna be on the Xbox, like at all. It's gonna be Halo Infinite and Hellblade and stuff, but that's not why I'm playing console. I'm playing console because I want these Last of Us games.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I got a PlayStation instead of an Xbox, because I have a PC, like a really good PC, and if you have a PC, Xbox is almost completely useless, because Microsoft exclusives are on PC as well. They are not really exclusives. While on the other hand, Nintendo and Sony have exclusive that you can't play anywhere else, basically. So you kind of have to buy the console if you want to have those games. And they have great games like Last of Us, or like Uncharted.
The same argument for Nintendo as well.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, the same argument goes for Nintendo. I mean, they don't have monetization in any of their games, like properly monetization. But like, for example, if you look at Gears of War 5, there's like an entire shop in there. You can buy a bunch of useless skins. You can, when they launched, they had like codes on monster bottles or something that you had to like scan in to get like loot boxes or like treats in the game.
Yep, exactly.
It's just, all this stuff is just so gross to me with the monetization, and Microsoft is like just more and more getting into this games as a service thing and all these in-game stores and things. It's just, I can't deal with it, and I'm really happy that PlayStation doesn't, because they really have like a proper quality control when it comes to
they have
stuff.
insane exclusives.
And that's why I'm saying like MLB The Show.
Yeah. Yeah, so like PlayStation has like really insane exclusive, probably the best out of all three. Although like Nintendo is arguably also like on par with it, but I feel like PlayStation has more serious games in a way compared to Nintendo, right? Like not like family centric, but like huge franchises that are very story driven and like very attached to the players. So like God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us, all these games are just like you kind of have to experience them. So you get a PlayStation and there's no other way around it.
I mean, Ratchet and Clank is like kind of a children's franchise, isn't it?
I mean, yes, but of course there are games that are for children, but I feel like a bunch of games that make people get the PlayStation are these other titles that are kind of more serious. Like Nintendo has Zelda, which is kind of for children, has Mario for children, and all these very childish family-centric games, which are obviously still very good for adults and very fun. Like Animal Crossing doesn't matter how old you are, you still enjoy that game if you have infinite time. But well, but you kind of know what I mean, right? Like these are
I
in
know
a
what you
different
mean.
category almost, I feel like.
All right, let's get back to topic. So the rumor is Uncharted is going to be developed by Sony San Diego. They can just hire new people. It doesn't have to be the MLB the Show team, because they're probably busy developing the next year's MLB the Show.
Right.
But yeah,
And what would you want the next game to be?
I want a new IP.
Okay. And what kind?
After the first Last of Us, the ending was left ambiguous, and I would have liked to keep it that way. I love how they expanded on it and where it ended now, because it's kind of ambiguous as well.
Right.
And I just don't want any answers. I made up in my mind what is happening and what's gonna happen in the future, and I would like to keep it that way. So what I would like to see is Naughty Dog developing a new franchise. I don't want them to go back to Jak and Daxter. I don't want them to go back to Uncharted, because they told whatever stories they wanted to tell there, and I wanted for them to tell us something completely new that we haven't seen.
I mean, I would be very excited for that, because they always make very great and unique games. So it cannot be bad. So I would be also very happy with a new IP. But I want Uncharted. Uncharted is love.
Have you even finished 2 and
No,
3?
but I finished 4 and 1.
Have you? So you still have 3 games left. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want like good graphics
Actually,
and new games, you know?
You have 4 games left. You have 2, 3, Golden Compass, and Lost Legacy.
Yeah,
left.
I guess I would probably enjoy all of them. I even enjoyed 1, so. And I played it this year.
2 is the best.
Yes, I would probably love it. If I have time. Like right now, I really don't have any time to play anything else.
They're much shorter than Last of Us, though.
Oh, true. Even the first game was
There's
pretty
actually
short.
a funny little There's a fun little Easter egg in the end of Last of Us that we're gonna get into later in the spoiler cast that you probably missed.
There was one in early on related to Uncharted, I think.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we don't. That's not really a spoiler. Like, I think the pandemic in the game happened in the first game in like 2013. So obviously, lore-wise, they keep going with it. So that means everywhere are PlayStation 3s with like Uncharted and Jak and Daxter lying around.
Oh yeah,
It's
true.
cute.
There's a bunch of PlayStations in every flat, the same layout with 2 controllers. I noticed it. Yeah. Okay.
There's even a PlayStation Vita with Hotline Miami, and the soundtrack from Hotline Miami is playing.
That was very annoying. It was on our show 2 times. So I even noticed that game because you just mentioned it in the last podcast.
Oh, I know the future. All right, speaking of Naughty Dog, how about talking about Crash Bandicoot 4? It's about time, because it got officially announced. We talked about it last week. They actually showed a trailer. It's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One on the 2nd of October this year. What do you think, Ben?
You think they announced it because the leaks, or they were planning to announce it anyway?
The game was on the ratings board. I think they had the cover art done. Everything is ready in place. They had a completely trailer cut out. If they had to like start with a trailer, speaking from experience, that stuff takes a while, and going through like Q&A and everything. I think everything was ready. They were just waiting to hit the buttons. When they had the ratings, I'm pretty sure they were ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the same opinion. I'm excited, but I'm not like a huge Crash fan. I'm more of the Spyro. But you said there may be some Spyro in there, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's the same developer who did the remastered trilogy for
Exactly.
Spyro. I wouldn't be shocked because the art style kind of
Matches
like
up,
goes in
true.
the kind of same direction. Although it looks weirder than the Crash Bandicoot remaster. It looks like more cartoony. It's going like in this weird Skylander direction. Do you remember Skylanders?
Yeah, I love Skylanders. I think I had it on VU I'm not sure. And like you have these figurines that you can put on and they go inside the game. It's really cool. They have Spyro.
Exactly. So yeah, I know it's from Activision.
Yeah.
It's the same studio. Toys for Bob made Skylanders until they weren't profitable anymore. Then they moved on to the Spyro remaster collection, and now they're working on this. The people who worked on the Crash remaster are actually remastering Tony Hawk 1 and 2 right now.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that as well. I used to play the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 2 in like when I was what, like 12, 10? I can't even remember.
Yeah, we had some news about like 4 new skaters got announced for the new Tony Hawk game, but I don't know any of them because I don't know how to
No
skate.
idea. I don't know either, and I don't know any competitive skaters, but it's fun to play those games. I love all extreme sport games. They're kind of fun.
The friends back in my day played the game on their computer all the time. I like watched, but I was really terrible at it.
I don't know. Was it PlayStation 1 or 2? Because I think maybe 1.
I think 1.
Yeah, because I think I played it.
I'm pretty sure it was 1. Oh, it was definitely 1 because I think the first Underground one was on PS2, I think.
Okay, could be.
Wait, was there? Yeah, there was a Tony Hawk Underground, I'm pretty sure. I remember the cover vividly. It was like some weird vignette with like a skater holding the... But that's all.
How do you remember?
I watched the trailer for Crash. The literal opening is him on a pipe going through dimensions. And it looks exactly, well, not
Like
exactly
Ratchet
the same.
and
It looks a bit more cartoonish and yeah, like the same idea. I swear to God.
Interesting.
The gamepad looks super different.
I mean,
though,
they really
and it
want to
looks
push the fast
so
loading
awesome.
times, I guess. Every game will have jumping
think
through portals now because they can load it. Nice.
I am going to lose my mind if we're gonna see Hellblade and she's gonna walk down a corridor and her head is like warping through dimensions or like one of the 7 realms of like Valhalla or
that
some
could easily
crazy
happen,
nonsense.
yeah.
I really don't want this to happen. I've had enough of these weird rifts and stuff.
Every game. 2020. Let's go.
All right. Let's move on. Number 2 on the news item list. Xbox 2020 event details were teased. All right, so Xbox marketing director Aaron Greenberg said on Twitter that Microsoft conducted an internal review of the event just this week with Phil Spencer,
Yeah.
which is head of Xbox. What does this tell you, Bence?
That we will have Sam on the podcast very soon.
That's very true. He's gonna be our first guest and our Xbox expert. But no, this tells us that Microsoft is finally ready to share something. We knew the event was gonna happen in July, but you can tell already that their marketing is now starting to roll because this tweet would have never gone out if they wouldn't have been ready.
All I can say is I am excited what they can show after the PlayStation reveals. If they can kinda match up to that or fight that or even beat it, I'm very excited to see. Like, will they show something crazy that just blows everyone's minds, or nothing interesting will happen and it will go down in history as Xbox losing yet another generation right from the get-go?
I think Xbox has a really good start this generation with all their services and the Xbox Game Pass and stuff. I think they have a really, really strong
Yeah, a lot
lineup.
of people are actually saying that
And
they
3 games
are
already-
doing better than PlayStation. Sony.
Yeah, service-wise, definitely, because PlayStation Plus is just a garbage heap like every second month because the games are worthless that you get on it. And on the Game Pass for like, I don't know, I think there was an offer in which you pay like €1 and you can play like a bunch of games in the crazy library. But 3 games already got announced for Xbox One X, right? Xbox Series X. Oh my god.
Close enough.
Halo Infinite got announced, which got a teaser, I think, like a small little tidbit about some team stuff, which I really didn't get into because I didn't understand what it
Not
meant.
interesting.
Um, then I think Everwild it's called. It's the new Rare game where they put out the trailer with like these really cool deer thingies that had like these horns that were expanding and stuff. And the first teaser for Hellblade was announced last year at the Game Awards. So we know that 3 of their studios are working on next generation games, which is 343 on Halo, which is a Ninja Theory on Hellblade, and Rare on Everwild, I think it was called. We're gonna do a predictions cast before the event so we can guess what is happening. But I'm telling you right now, I'm waiting for Fable, either remaster or
You
new.
know, Fable, I actually love. I played, I think, 3 Fable games. I played the first one like 3 times. I just really love that franchise.
I played 1 and 2. I couldn't get into
It got
3.
worse
I
and
watched,
worse,
like,
actually,
reviews
yeah.
and-
Like 1 was the best by far,
well,
I think.
what is it? Lionhead is closed and Peter Molyneux is not around anymore. Spill lies. So whoever is working on it, which is probably yeah, let's not say it. I mean the leaks are already, rumors are already out there, so whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we're gonna be seeing a new Fable game
That would be awesome.
at the announcement.
I would be very happy.
That would be really cool, but would it beat PlayStation? What do you think?
No, I don't think Fable is enough. Like, I don't know. We have to see.
But we
Like,
talked about
PlayStation announced so many games, including like Marvel games, which is in itself is such a big pool. So like everyone knows Spider-Man, but no one really knows Fable, right? I mean, other than gamers. So I don't know.
Yeah, but Spider-Man already got this weird energy going on around it of this like expansion standalone
Yeah,
game.
but that's only for like hardcore people. I feel like I think most people who buy consoles are or like gamers in itself. Like I would say like 80% of the people are very casual gamers. They don't watch these shows. They don't watch anything. And if they see Spider-Man or Fable, then Spider-Man just wins. You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Like that's how I see it. Like most people don't see things like us because we almost know every game and every franchise and we've played most games, so you can get excited about things that no one even knows about. But most people don't, so that's why I think Fable wouldn't be enough. Halo is something though which is very well known. So
I think they already announced that it's gonna be out for launch, so that's definitely a launch
Yeah.
title. So that is one killer app. If they can actually put it off and get back to whatever they were with Halo 3 and throw 4 and 5 in the trash, then
Yeah.
maybe.
that's it.
All right, let's move on to topic 3. So Nintendo and Pokemon Company announced a Pokemon MOBA called Pokemon Unite, and it's gonna be developed by Tencent TIMI.
Yeah, so I
How does
just
this rub you?
talked about this with Max before the podcast, and they are actually doing a MOBA game like League of Legends or Dota or Heroes of the Storm, and I think that's a few 5 years late to the party, and also it's kind of weird to even imagine that with Pokemon. I don't even know what to think about that, Max. It's just very odd. But I will be a Pikachu mid laner, destroying everyone with my lightning bolts.
I tell you what, if they go Generation 1, they already have 151 characters.
Very true, but they have to do like abilities for each, like 3, 4, usually 4 abilities. You have to balance them. You have to like, I don't know, like have different positions for each. It just makes it very complex. But I guess they could.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
the
even
design
know.
is already done for the characters.
Yeah, the design is done. They just have to like make it work in an actual competitive environment, which is probably the hardest part, and is still not working in League of Legends because it's always broken and always broken champions. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. A couple of years ago, there was this massive hype of MOBA games, right? Like you mentioned, Heroes of the Storm came out, a bunch of other ones came out. I think DC had their own Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that died pretty quickly, and everybody in their minds was trying to push out these MOBAs, and then they also tried to put them on console, and it never caught on ever. I think they were once on iPad.
I think
as
it's
well.
actually on phone it caught on. Like the phone MOBAs are doing really well in China, I think. Like insanely well. still, like these Mobile Legends.
I mean, this
and
one
stuff.
is made by Tencent.
So that's probably maybe why, because they see that the mobile games, and they have mobile games, right? Probably a bunch, and they are all doing crazy. So why not? Pokemon, like I think if anything is Pokemon, it already does well. To be honest, it doesn't even matter what it is. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was talking to a colleague tonight, and she told me that there's a Pokemon game, which is literally just you brushing your teeth, and you use your FaceTime camera, and it says like use the camera while brushing your teeth, and then it gives you like some animations and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's cute for children to like brush your teeth and stuff, but oh my god. All right, let's get out of here, like escape from this nightmare.
Yeah.
Number 4, Sucker Punch announces Ghost of Tsushima goes. So they're ready to print on disc. It's done. That's it.
Exciting.
Probably, maybe you're gonna
next
day one patch.
Next month we're gonna play again, like as soon as it's next month, right? It comes out like exactly in a month.
Yeah, it's coming out in
and
July.
It's gonna be probably way longer than
17th.
Last of Us, because it's kind of like an open world game, right? So we probably gonna spend
it's not kind of,
it is an open world. It is like The Witcher, basically.
The Witcher of Tsushima.
So we're gonna play 200 hours and then we do a review with spoiler. Let's go. But I'm actually really
I'm
excited,
not appalled
Max.
to that.
That game looks so cool.
Yeah, we watched both the what was it, the state of play, and the way you can change the game to the black and white mode, that you don't really have marker points that you can set on the map. Instead, you look around when you want to see in which direction you need to go. Like the wind is blowing in front of you with leaves, so you can always see which way you need to go. Anything that looks slightly out of the ordinary is like a point in the world, and in the map you have your horse, you can have the armor. You have 2 playstyles in which you play as like the ghost, not honorable ghosts or something, that is like frowned upon because ninjas weren't really like honorable at all. You can play as a samurai or you can play as the ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And they're completely different playstyles, because ninja plays sneakily and kills everybody like from on top, as you usually do, and the samurai is very honorable, standoffs with the other people and stuff. And whatever gear you pick, it gives you different stats and boosts, and the world just, oh my god. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to this game. I love Sucker Punch.
You know what I wish?
I think I played every Sucker Punch game.
I wish it was on PC. I just prefer playing these games with keyboard and mouse, and like the graphics cranked to maximum settings with like 60 FPS at least.
If Horizon and Death Stranding and Detroit Become Human and whatever are any indications, you might actually get Ghost of Tsushima like in 2-3 years when it's not selling on PlayStation anymore, so they can get a couple more sales from the PC.
Yeah,
people.
I know, but like at that point, I don't even care anymore. Yeah, right? Exactly. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, Horizon is probably gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I will probably buy it too, because I never finished that one on PlayStation.
See, there you go.
That one I will get, but like this game I will just get on PlayStation instantly and play it. So.
Yeah, but we're gonna give ourselves a bit more time. I think 1 week is not enough to.
No,
blast
please
through that
don't
game.
make me play 200 hours in a week, Max. That's.
You spent 25 hours in The Last of Us, and you looked in every corner. I spent 30 hours, and apparently I looked in every corner twice. Imagine when we have to go through that game without like markers or anything. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Although, again, back to The Last of Us, this game made you want to look in every corner. It made your OCD tick so much. It was almost annoying that I felt like this pressure on myself that I have to look into every single corner, every door I have to check. Oh my god. But yeah, but with open world games, I usually don't even bother doing the side quests, so it's a bit different.
All right. So we mentioned that we were recording on Thursday, and I just watched the Cyberpunk live stream. I think it was like Night City Wire. Bence didn't get to watch it, so I'm gonna leave you with this. It's not really, well, it's a news story, but we're gonna catch up on that and talk about it next week. So they showed off like a couple of minutes of new trailer stuff, went with the developers into some interviews, and announced that applications like IGN got 4 hours with the game. So those are the 4 opening hours where you can like pick branches. And I just wanted to touch on one tidbit that I found pretty funny. Apparently there's a side quest in the game in which you find a dude with a augmented penis, and it goes haywire. So you have to bring him to a Ripper doctor with a car or something. And while you sit in a car, he's telling you a whole bunch of weird shit.
Actually sounds very Witchery
And that's
kind
the
of
side quest.
line. Like,
It really does, doesn't it?
That shit just happens in The Witcher all the time. Okay, not the exact same, but like similar, very questionable scenario.
Yeah, if you think A is gonna happen, Z is gonna happen, because so much weird stuff in The Witcher is just constantly happening.
Yeah.
They're actually, we're talking to the developers as well and asking them a bunch of questions about how the endings play out, how your decisions matter, and moments and stuff. So I would say we're gonna get into that next week because there's so much to unpack. And I took some notes, but I think there's much, much more because a whole bunch of publications, developers, and everybody got to play 4 hours and they could roam free. So there was no restriction. Anybody could do whatever they wanted. So we're gonna touch on that next week when we know more.
And I also have to catch up on it completely.
Fun topic
soon.
because there's so much cool stuff, I tell you, man.
Cool. I'm excited for that game soon.
All right, that pretty much concludes the news, and I would say our podcast spoiler-free episode.
Yay. So guys, don't forget that after this episode we're gonna upload an episode just talking about The Last of Us 2 with all the spoilers. So make sure to check back on the channel right after this one and check out the next video.
Yeah, if you want to hear how I'm gonna blow Bence's mind and change his mind about the review score about The Last of Us 2, you better tune in. All right, so thanks for tuning in general, and don't forget to comment, add audio clips to our Anchor, or just write underneath the videos in general, or send us an email at raweffectpodcast@gmail.com. We always appreciate feedback, and if we got something wrong, mostly me usually. Oh my god. Yeah, keep writing in.
Yes.
Until next time, keep the coffee.
Thank you for
Bye.
watching. Bye.